Thank you, Derek. Now, 24-year-old Sharon Carroll is battling cancer for the second time since her 21st birthday. Instead of letting it get her down, Sharon has been blogging about her whirlwind of treatments.
Sharon joins us now to tell us more about those chemo cocktails and everything in between. It sounds so unfair to say that you're battling it for the second time round when you're still so young.
Yeah.
But I know you just kind of park that unfairness.
Yeah, I kind of just get on with it. You know, there's nothing really... The way I look at it is you can't do anything about it. So, you know, there's no point... I can't turn around to someone and say, actually, sorry, I don't feel like being sick, so can I... You know, can you take this back for a year or two?
It's not an option.
Yeah, it's not an option, like, so that's just it. You've just got to get on with it.
Sharon, give us a little kind of history of your time with cancer, or cancer's time with you, when it all started and how you've been fighting it. Just bring us up to speed.
So when I first got sick, it was back in 2012. I first got diagnosed 2 weeks after my 21st with stage 2, borderline stage 3 breast cancer. And
at 21 years of age?
Yeah, just after my 2 weeks after my 21st, so it was crazy, yeah. So then with all my scans and everything, they opted then to do 8 rounds chemo and surgery. I had a double mastectomy and reconstruction, and then I had to go back for a second surgery because it was in my lymph nodes, so I had my lymph nodes removed then, and then I had 28 zaps of radium. So after that then...
Zaps? You make it sound like it's nothing at all. 28 zaps.
Like, yeah, 28 zaps of radium. So after all that then I had scans and everything, and it was all perfect, so it was. And got the all clear, and then I went to Australia for a year in 2014.
And had a ball.
And had an amazing year. It was unbelievable, so it was. And then I just came home in August for a holiday, and I just said I'd apply for my second year visa at home. So came home anyway, and that was grand, got the visa and everything. Then I was like, okay, right, get everything back in track now. And I had a little rash when I was out there, but I just thought it was mozzie bites, because you get bit by mozzies all the time, you don't really pass any heat in it, like. So, and it looked like just a normal rash, like. So I went to my doctor and I was like, you know, can you give me something for this rash? I said,
where was the rash?
It was just underneath here, so it was. Yeah. So, and it looked exactly just like mozzie bites, and I was like, can you give me something just to get rid of this, you know, before I go back to Oz? And he was like, he said, yeah, grand. And they said, yeah, it looks like some sort of kind of skin reaction to something. And I was like, yeah, grand, it didn't really pass any heat. And then a week later, it didn't clear up. So I went back then, so I did, and I was like, oh, can you give me something a little bit stronger? And he was like, you know, I'll just send you up to your professor to be sure. He said, they know exactly what they're dealing with. He said, just to be typical Irish, to be sure, you know, that it's okay. And I was like, all right, grand. In my own head, I was like, this is a pure nuisance now going up. Like, I was like, okay, I can run into Penny's and get a few bits and go home and finish packing my bag and everything. So went up anyway, and like my professor then, you'd always be having the bants with him, and he's great fun and everything, so he is. And, you know, we were talking about Oz for a few minutes and stuff. And then he was like, you know, I'll just do a biopsy to be 100%. And I was like, okay. I was like, God, this doesn't sound too good. But I was like, okay, yeah, grand. And I was like, well, I'm flying out now. So I had the appointment on Friday. And I said, I'm flying out now Tuesday. I said, will you have the results back by then? And he goes, yeah, kind of rolled his eyes a bit like, yeah, I will, like more or less, God, we know what you're like. Yeah, there's a rush. And then got the call, sure enough, Monday, and Mary Greeley, my nurse, said to me, will you be able to come up? And I kind of knew then by that something was wrong, because they don't just, like, call you up for, you know, the chats and the laws, like, so they don't. So then,
did your heart sink?
It did a little bit, yeah. I remember when, like, I was just lying in bed and I got the phone call, and I was just like, oh, God. I was like, something's wrong. So I called my friend Viv, so I did, and I was, like, saying to her, I said, I'm not going to be getting on that plane tomorrow. And she goes, you will now, you're just, you know, you're just being negative now, you're thinking, you know, the worst, like. And I was like, no, I'm telling you, I won't be getting on it. And then I said to her, she goes to me, do you want me to come up with you? And I said, no, I'm grand. And I said, you know what? She said, sure, come up anyway, we'll go for dinner or something afterwards, like. So herself and her little Manny and Brendy came up with me, and we were kind of just sitting down then and everything, and then got called in. And then Professor came in a few minutes after me. But I kind of knew when I was walking in, he was a little bit off. And he'd usually he was standing at the desk, and he'd usually be, you know, big kind of like, oh, hi, how are you? And he was a little bit off with me, so he was. I could just sense it, like, I know it sounds mad, but you could just feel it, like, that there was something a bit weird. So I went into the room anyway, and he came in then after me, and he goes, I knew by his face then, like, he just had that kind of face on him, and he goes, I'm sorry to tell you, Sharon, your cancer's back. And I was like, oh, I knew it. I was like, I just knew it was back. And he goes, Joey kind of, and I knew by him that even he was devastated having to tell me, like, you know, I knew he was kind of like gutted, like, to be having to tell me. And then he was like, look, we're just going to have to send you for scans and see do you know what kind of, where, if it's just there, if it's based in the one spot or what. And then I was like, okay, grand. And then I proceeded then to have scans, MRIs, CAT scans, bone scans, brain scans, everything. I think I've probably had scans now at this stage, costing the HSE, I'd say, a small fortune, so I am. And then all my scans came back. I had another appointment in Galway with Mackenkean, my other professor, and my scans came back that it is in both my lungs, both my rib cages, the back of my skull, my chest bone, 3 vertebrae in my spine and my lower back. So I kind of just lit up like a little Christmas tree when they done all my scans. Yeah. So
how do you deal with that? Yeah.
I don't know. You kind of like just, I can't do anything, as I said before, like I can't do anything about it. Like I can't turn around to someone and say, sorry, I actually don't want to be sick. Like, do you know, like there's no option. Like if I can't crawl under and hide. Like this is reality.
You've got to fight it.
Yeah, that's it. Like this is my.
And what about your poor family when you rang them and said, lads?
Yeah, they were devastated. Like, but my family are just. I couldn't credit them. I probably don't credit them enough, so I don't. But they're great, and I have a great family and great group of friends, like, and everything. Like, they don't like change, or they don't think of me any different to. Do you know, like, I'm no different, like. Or...
This is the thing that has struck people about you, is about your attitude and how you blogged about it. And I mean, it's being viewed worldwide, and it's quite extraordinary, the reaction. Yeah. But I mean, you say things like, I can't wait for the days back when my biggest problem is getting up for work.
I know, yeah.
And it's that sort of matter-of-factness, that innate kind of ordinary courage, which is actually extraordinary in the face of what you're dealing.
And it is, like, because I remember the first time I got sick, I remember, like, saying to Viv, I used to work with her, so I remember being like, God, I just can't wait till I'm complaining about, like, getting up for work.
Normal
and, like,
stuff.
Having to get up in the morning and go in and, like, and then I was like, it all came back to me. And the more than that, then I did kind of start to, like, complain again then kind of about work. You know, you automatically do. We're Irish. It's what we do, like, so it is. You know? And then I was like, there was loads of days, like, I was bedbound for days, like, this time around. And I was just like, God, I just can't wait till I'm giving out about going to work or giving out about going to college and, do you know, stuff like that, like.
What's happening now?
Now I'm having chemo. So I have 3 more chemos left. So excited to be on the last few. I have another one now on Thursday, and then I'll have the following one the Friday, and then the Friday again. And after that, then I have scans then to see, about a week after that, I have my scans then to see if it's worked or if it's not worked or what we do. I'm in limbo, kind of. We don't know
until you get those results.
Until I get the results, yeah. Like,
so you don't have a prognosis then?
No, kind of. Everyone like to say, like, and what are you going to, like, so what's going to happen after the chemo? Is it all going to be done? And I'm like, I don't know. Please God, it will be all done, but we don't know, like. Like, my cancer is that your stage is basically what stage your cancer is at, and your grade is how aggressive. Mine is both stage 4 and grade 4. Do you know, it's at its almost worst. Like, yeah, that's what I said as well. Wow. When they told me, I was like, oh, of course it is. I was like, are you sure there isn't another grade there or something you're not telling me about? And they were like, no. And your one was like, I fell off back. She was like, so sympathetic. She was like, oh no, I'm really sorry, there's not. And I was like, oh no, it's okay, I know there's not. I was a bit like, it's all right, it's okay, I know there's not another grade. But
how do you keep that eternally sunny side up?
Don't get me wrong, like, there's days, like, I do break down and I go nuts. Like, I've had days where I've just gone, like, no, this is it, I'm not doing anymore, I'm no more needles or no more anything. Like, you know, there is days like that, but then I'm kind of like, you know, I'll rant off to one of my friends or have a little rant to one of my sisters, and they're like, do you feel better now? And I'm like, yeah.
Or you'll do your blog.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I find that, like, I rant in that and I vent, and I know people are probably looking at that going, oh God, but, like, that's what I find. Like, I just get it out, and, like, it's amazing the amount of other young girls that I've had email me back and saying, oh God, thank God now, like, that's exactly the way I feel. Or,
well, as somebody said recently, we have a tendency to whinge in this country.
Yeah, and we do. We're Irish.
On the other hand, you are the epitome of all that's good in that you're looking at it, and what you're saying to people is that it's live life, grab it now, make the most of it, because you don't know what the future is.
Like, I know I just do. I've always had that kind of live life to the full, and, you know, you're only here once. But especially now more so, I think people should just all take a second and, like, look at the people beside you. Or, do you know, I know everyone just give out about kids and, do you know, you have to get up now and get the kids ready for school and go to this. But to enjoy that moment, like, it's not going to be there forever, so it isn't. At some stage, the person next to you is going to be gone. And that's, you know, the reality of it, like, that's life. So
if people want to read your blog and they're not familiar with it, how do they check it out?
You can look it up. It's sharonscancerwhirlwind.wordpress.com, or you can look it up, Sharon's Cancer Whirlwind, on Facebook.
And will you let us know how your results are?
Yeah, no, I will, definitely. be an exciting day for the parish, so it will be.
An exciting day for the parish. Yeah. I have to say, irrespective of everything else, you're a wonderful writer.
I don't know about that.
You're a great writer, great writer.
Oh, thank you.
Sharon, thank you.
Thanks so much yourself. Thanks a million.